do my whole intro spiel. But, all right, let's get going. Hello, and welcome to the Loyola Phoenix's Production Night Sessions, our weekly live stream that features performing artists and one of our reporters, usually me, who interviews the artists on air, asks them questions between songs, very similar to Audio Tree or NPR's Tiny Desk, if you've ever seen either of those programs. This week's guest is Bailey Minzenberger, a student in Chicago and a fantastic artist. So we're just going to wait for them to join the stream. Looks like they've requested. All right. Let's see, is it gonna...
Hey, how's it going?
Hello. Good, how are you? All right.
Doing
Cool.
all right.
You can see me? Fantastic.
Oh yeah, you look great.
All right, awesome. Awesome. All right, go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we can get on with the show.
Wonderful. Hi, I'm Bailey Minzenberger, and my first tune is called One. Okay, cool. Maybe I should try to tilt this a little bit.
Camera angles are hard.
Very, very precariously placed on a windowsill right now. I'm kind of scared to tilt it. Okay. I leave my body like I want to hold it in, like I always meant to. Leave it dried out with a partial hit. I won't take this anymore, but I'll wait outside your door. Caress cold tide and drag my weight across the floor. Rest my eyes, chip my teeth on February skies. I'll lie. And I'll take my body like I want to hold it, like I always meant to. Lay it back down, paint every strand. Peace in my hands, but I won't be outside your door. Traced every mile, giving less to feel. Rest my eyes, chip my teeth on February skies. I'll lie, I'll lie. Thank you.
Woo! All right, some clapping emojis in the chat for everybody that joined us mid-song there. This is the Loyola Phoenix's production night sessions. All right, hold on one second. I think I'm having some difficulties on my end.
Tell if it's still working. Oh, there we go. Hello.
Yeah, all right, fantastic. All right, cool. Yeah, nice background and everything. It's all backwards, the mirror system. But okay, so that song was One, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's the first song off of your album Dramamine, which you wrote and recorded all of the parts to that yourself. How did that process even come about, and how did you go about kind of choosing between like maybe making it just like a solo acoustic project or a full band thing?
Okay, so I have been playing music for as long as I can remember. I started playing drums when I was about 10, so that was my first instrument. And when I graduated high school is when I started writing my own music with like this iteration. So fast forward a little bit. I went on a trip with a friend of mine where we were farming and traveling for about a month, and I had an epiphany while I was out there that I wanted to go back to school and I wanted to record an album. So when we got back home, I started on that whole process, and I didn't have a band at the time, so I had to choose between whether or not I wanted to figure that out or just do it acoustic. And some of the tunes just kind of played themselves out in my head as full band pieces. So because I feel lucky enough to be able to do that myself, I decided to just like give it a try. And it was a lot of fun, a lot of work, but yeah, it was
I
lovely.
imagine studio time is never easy, and that's just doing like one part. I can't even imagine doing like as many parts as would go into a full album. So how did you go about recording that? I know that you do a lot of your own recording. Was that something that you recorded yourself, or did you work with somebody else for that?
I worked with somebody else actually. Eric Lobo from Wolfsten Studios. Yeah, I ended up finding him through a bunch of mutual connections, so it seemed like a fate in a way.
Hmm.
um, yeah, he's just the sweetest person. I loved working with him. The way that we did it was we kind of had certain days or a couple of days in a row that were designated like guitar days, harmony days, drum day, and and if I'm recalling, I think I did all of the guitar parts for multiple songs in one day if I could. So
Wow,
a
that's
lot.
a lot.
But I'm really grateful for the whole process. It allowed me to kind of dissect the songs and look at them in a new and really intimate way. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you're kind of connecting with every single piece of a song, it'll do that. So
Mm-hmm.
how was the kind of process change as you've added, band members and as you've, um, obviously made that switch from being kind of on your own to doing this with other people?
Man, it has been such a beautiful experience. I love it so much. The folks in my band are some of my best friends. Um, got Jack Lickerman on drums, Georgia Sonand on guitar, and Nico Capitan on bass. Um, yeah, I love them so much. So getting to spend that much time together and work on something that is so intimate and personal to me, it's brought us a lot closer, and it's given us the opportunity to travel around and meet a bunch of really cool people, and just the whole experience has just been lovely. I definitely prefer playing with a band, I think, because of that. But playing solo is good too. It's just a different experience.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just I mean, playing with it's the same thing as practicing with people or practicing alone. I mean, it's a very different kind of almost feel or vibe to it.
Right, right.
Um, And then, any future recordings, do you think that you're going to be still recording all of the pieces yourself, or are you going to be having, your bandmates do that?
I think it depends on the project. I released an EP, think about a week or so ago, and I did all of it myself. I since I've had so much downtime, I decided that I'd dive back into DIY recording. So there's no percussion on that or anything. It's just vocals and guitar. But I think when it comes to the full band stuff, I'll definitely bring the dudes in.
That makes sense. That makes sense. It's a little bit of the burden of the work off of you then.
Right, yeah.
Well, that's nice. All right. Well, you can go ahead and go into your next one.
Oh, hi, Christian.
Oh, is Chris in the chat? A
Yeah,
former guest.
your session was wonderful, Christian. All right. You said start the next song?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, wonderful. This is another tune that was off of Dramamine. It's called Clary Sage. This is a real old one. All right. Sick to my stomach, I ingest a murky road. In this sea of dull faces, I seem to find my own. With the passenger side gaping, I let myself twist and glide, escaping into hurricane. It's blood rush out of sight. But who kissed this same air while we're worlds away? Letters scattered on tables, I grip the words you say. Lay peace on the ground. You're the peace that I found. Afraid of a life to lead, a heavy life of noble greed. It's the human beast that we chose to feed. Chose a life worth living. I chose to see green. But who kissed this same air while we're worlds away? Letters scattered on tables, I grip the words you say. Spell me out one now, melted down. The small piece that I Thank you.
Woo! All right, more clapping emojis in the chat, guys. All right, for those of you that just joined us or joined us in the middle of that song, this is the Loyola Phoenix Production Night Sessions. I'm going to say it a lot. It's like a radio show. It's a good time. All right, so you mentioned that, you released these, the child demos just under 2 weeks ago. That was April 29th, and that you recorded them yourself. What does the recording process look like with that? Is that also split up into, days of guitar and vocals, or is it a little more relaxed because you are just recording yourself?
Hmm. It was different for every single tune for sure. Um, Parted Mind I actually did in just one go. That was the first one that I recorded out of the three, and it was because I had the tune already and I didn't really know what I wanted to do with it, so I kind of just dove in, and I was I was kind of like sitting in a swivel chair with the mic up to my mouth, just like rotating back and forth and singing it. And yeah, so that one was definitely pretty lax. Anyway, it was kind of a pain in the butt though. Yeah, because I had electric guitar on that one, and I also there's a really faint kick drum in the background, so I had like two coats draped on both sides, and I was leaning down really awkwardly and using the pedal with my left hand. That one definitely
You
took
know how
me.
you play drums.
Yeah, exactly. It's more of like a headstand, really. It
It's
was
like
fun.
acrobatics and drums together. It's like Cirque du Soleil meets Blue Man Group. It's really
Exactly.
avant-garde.
That's the vibe I'm going for sure.
Perfect, perfect. You nailed it. That's really interesting though. Does the electric guitar, I mean, what about that makes it a little more difficult? Obviously, the kick drum is like a whole animal of its own. But the electric guitar, it sounded like that gave you a little bit of trouble specifically.
uh, it's just a different thing to mix. It's a different process than acoustic. Yeah, I did both DI guitar and I mic'd my amp at the same time. So I
Okay,
had to mess with those different textures, and yeah, it's just a completely different experience mixing that over acoustic because the acoustic just has this natural warmth to it when tracking. So I had to like mess with the high end and stuff, whereas with the electric it was the opposite. You know, at
that
least
makes
in my
sense. Yeah.
but yeah.
Well, that's kind of like your style of music. The electric is, it's that kind of lower reverby sound with it. That kind of gives it that full sound behind a lot of these songs. But that is really interesting and definitely something as somebody that doesn't record themselves, I would not have known. Um, so thank you
Yeah,
for sharing.
things
Hopefully
I
the
could.
chat, this is an educational program. Hopefully the people watching can learn something today. If you
Yeah,
guys
thank you.
ever need to record yourselves. Um, but yeah, so are these three songs, I know they're just kind of demos right now. Are they going to be re-released somewhere down the line as like part of a bigger like album or EP or something like that?
Hmm. I think so. I think so. I don't know about all three of them, but at
Mm.
least two. Um, yeah, we actually had some plans to start recording, and then the whole pandemic happened.
The
Yeah,
world like fell out of its rotation. Yeah.
exactly. Everything just kind of got jumbled up. Um, so we were gonna get going on that, and then I could have been thinking about that a little bit more. But as of right now, I'm trying to exist very presently. So I don't have like a super concrete answer for you, but I would say
Hmm.
probably.
That's good enough. You heard it here first, folks. Those two songs for sure. You're like contractually bound to re-release those songs now. Um, yeah, glad that we can hold you to that now. Um, all right, you can go into your next one.
Okay. Um, this is off of that EP called Pardon Mine. Inside the wall, buried in the cost, framed in all, pictured in the soul. I'm a mountains there, curling in the smoke and parted mind. recalling places where I've tucked my life, nurtured in delicate bloom. Lay down the floorboards in caboose, and all the money spent, I'll pay you for your time, apologizing for the places where I've laid my right. Lay it to rest at the hour, and I will find you there, and I will find you there. Thank you.
Woo! All right, so that was one of Bailey's songs off of their newest EP, The Child Demos. And for those of you just joining us, this is the Loyola Phoenix Production Night Sessions. And welcome back. So we've now heard 3 songs from Bailey Minzenberger, one of our favorite Chicago artists here. I saw that one of the last shows you guys played was at Downstairs Sub T. And I wanted to ask you about, obviously with the virus going around, a lot of smaller venues are kind of struggling right now. I just wanted to know if you could maybe speak to the role that smaller venues have played in your growth as an artist and the growth of your group as a whole.
Oh man, they're really everything. I have a lot more experience playing at DIYs than anything else, but when it comes to the smaller venues in the city, they're definitely my favorite, because it's one of the most beautiful things about playing music for me is the communities that you get to create and cultivate, and the numerous beautiful people you get to meet. So when you play at smaller venues like that, it's almost as if you're sitting in someone's living room, So it kind of brings the magic of playing for your friends into a public setting. So that is really, really important to me. So places like Sub T, Beat Kitchen, just my heart goes out.
Yeah, absolutely. I know the last few shows I was at were Sub T and Beat Kitchen. Definitely, frequent spots and things like that. So how was that last show? And would you have done anything differently had you known it was going to be one of the last shows?
And it was so much fun. It was, we had never played Downstairs Sub T before. Jack and I played upstairs a really long time ago. We were both like 15 in a prog rock band. So we played downstairs for the first time, so that was really exciting. We played with Lettering and Termination Dust and Pelafina, and all of those folks are really nice and their music is wonderful, so that was already really exciting. And a new tune that I finished fairly recently, we added an extended ending to it. The crazy ending of that tune, Not by Big Thief, where Adrian just goes crazy?
Yes.
Yeah. It was like something similar to that, where I could just like bang on my guitar and just get it to feedback and sound kind of like just very jarring. And that was the most cathartic thing I think I've ever done. So I definitely would not change that.
That's pretty punk rock. Like, I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I should have kicked it over. Just like poured beer all over it.
Really go the whole 9 yards, smash the guitar, walk off stage.
Exactly.
You gotta go all the way with it.
One of those belts from Guitar Hero that the characters have where they can spin their guitar around in a circle.
That's what you need, 100%.
Absolutely.
Honestly, if artists should learn anything from Guitar Hero, it's stage presence
Oh, absolutely.
or vocal range. I swear that guy can sing any song. He's got them all down.
Man, that game is so fun.
Really good time. I think that a lot of musicians probably get their start on that.
Oh, absolutely. You really like, get the finger dexterity going with the expert with the
Oh
ornament band.
yeah. I think Guitar Hero is harder than playing real guitar sometimes.
Oh, definitely. My hands
Like,
cramp up more on Guitar Hero.
well, like I've played like you play Smoke on the Water in Guitar Hero and you play it on a real guitar. It's not the same thing. It's way harder. They really throw you off. All right, you can go into your last song if you'd like.
Okay. All right. I think I'm gonna end with a cover.
Ooh.
Within the vein of our last topic of conversation, I guess. Adrienne Linker from Big Thief. She's one of my absolute favorite artists, and listening to her solo EPs from back in the day, A sides and B sides, was partially what got me to start writing my own music because I had never connected with something like that. Um, and this guitar part in particular has always struck me. So I finally took the time to transcribe it.
That's pretty cool.
This is Karina by Adrienne Linker. Sweetest Karina, give me your sign. Still haven't seen you, but I'm calling you all the time. Calling you all the time. Caught in the turning, losing my mind. But I learned to believe you when you say you'll be just fine. Say you'll be just fine. When we know reasons why we change, why our bodies are more than just breath and veins. I wonder what remains past the forest and borders and pocket change. Ooh, ooh, and doesn't blow, baby, just 'cause I want it to. Ooh, ooh, you don't want me, honey, just 'cause I wanted you. Caught in the turning, losing my mind. But I lose when I'm learning, when I'm calling you all the time. Say it will be just fine. When we know reasons why we change, why our bodies are more than just breath and veins. I wonder what remains past the forest and borders and pocket change. Ooh, ooh, it doesn't go, baby, just 'cause I want it to. Ooh, ooh, you don't want me, honey, just 'cause I wanted you. Thank you.
Woo. One last round of digital applause for Bailey Minzenberger. And it looks like we're just about out of time. So thank you, Bailey, for joining us. And thank you to all of our listeners for tuning in to the Loyola Phoenix's production night sessions. Remember to tune in next week right here on the Loyola Phoenix Instagram account at 6 p.m. Central Time for the next edition of production night sessions. And make sure to keep up with us on Twitter and Facebook. On Twitter, we are at Phoenix LUC. On Facebook, at the Loyola Phoenix. And you can also subscribe to our newsletter for news updates right in your inbox, and also reminders that these are going to be happening. So catch us every week. Thank you guys again, and we will see you next week.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being on.